Now, this is going to be a bit of a controversial one, isn't it? And I suppose I should answer that headline clickbaity title straight away. No, I don't personally believe that PPF is a scam. However, there are quite a few things about it that I want to bring up, and I hope we can then have a nice discussion about it in the comments section, because, as I'm sure you'll all agree, there is no better, more balanced and intelligently formed arena for online debate than the comments section in a YouTube video. So, what's made me make this video? Well, I actually wanted to make it quite a while ago when I first got my Lotus Evora. And various reasons I didn't, just so busy making other videos. And then I started thinking about it again recently because I am currently in the process of looking to get my M3 wrapped. Now, that's not going to happen for a couple of months, and I suppose it's the first time I've actually ever had a car wrapped, and I will be doing it a little bit differently, but you'll have to tune in for that video as and when it happens. Exactly when it's going to be, I can't say, because due to the nature of what we're doing, it's going to take a little longer than usual. But anyway, I digress. Specialty of mine. When I got my Evora, it was the first time I'd ever, and maybe the only time this ever happens to me, I don't know, bought a brand new car. Previously, all of my cars had been really high mileage examples where the paint was, to be quite honest, way past its prime. And as long as there wasn't anything bigger than a sort of stone chip in it, I was kind of just happy that there was paint on the car. But with the Evora, I had this opportunity to protect a car from day one. And paint protection film had already become a very popular thing by then. This is about 3 years ago. And I started looking into it. Now, the very first thing that shocked me was just how expensive this was. Now, of course, the price of doing a PPF will vary wildly depending on how much of a car you want covered, what kind of car it is, what size it is, and the particular film involved. Now, to cover the front end of my Lotus, I was being quoted between £1,000 £1,500 thereabouts. And I would say it's probably the most common a PPF job that is done, is just getting the front end covered, because that's where you're going to get most of your stone chips and things. Well, I just thought, you know, for that amount of money, I could just have the front end resprayed. And that's something we're going to come back onto in a little bit. So I thought, that's an awful lot. And then, as I'd had the car for a little while, I eventually decided against it. I thought, no, I don't really have the money. I don't really want to spend it on it. And if there's a problem, I'll just get the paint sorted out later. So, if the paint isn't perfect, you are, of course, going to seal in any imperfections. And that means swirl marks, scratches, any of this sort of stuff. So you've got to get the paint in really good condition, which means bringing the paint up to good condition. And it's for this reason that most reputable PPF companies will include as part of their service a full detail of a car. That's really expensive. Now, people also like to do PPF from the factory. So, let's face it, the only real time that you're going to be able to get a car with the paint in box fresh, factory original condition is when the car is brand new. And the issue there is if the car is really, really super new, the paint may not have quite cured properly. This can happen. Now, I'm not an expert in these matters, and if I say anything that is particularly woefully, horribly, or factually wrong, please do comment down below and tell me about it, okay? You see, if you apply PPF to a car that isn't quite ready for it, or to a surface that's not ready for it, nothing bad will happen when the PPF actually goes on. But when you come to remove it, you may well bring some of the paint or the lacquer with it. And this has happened notably to a few people on YouTube recently who've had cars that have had less than perfect paint jobs done to them, which of course is a risk of them PPFing a car that's not brand new. Now, some people will go the whole hog and have an entire car PPF'd or wrapped. And I suppose in this circumstance, then PPFing or wrapping a car is kind of the same. You've got similar risks, that kind of stuff. And then you've got, a bill for about £5,000 or so to have the PPF or whatever put on a car. That's a lot. I mean, £5,000 is what a pretty decent body shop is going to charge me for a respray of a car. And I can't imagine any car that I own getting to a stage from brand new to needing that in any reasonable period of time. And these products do have a shelf life. You know, they are not, you know, forever products. They are meant to come off after a time period. Now, going back to my Lotus, as mentioned, the Lotus actually had some PPF applied from the factory. Now, Lotus didn't actually apply it correctly. Now, the car had, I believe, a little bit of PPF on the front, and it also had, the two main bits were on the side, just ahead of the rear wheel arches. This is not at all uncommon. Porsche have been putting paint protection film on their cars for the last, like, 25 years in that spot, because when you've got a nice wide arch on the back of the car, very easy for stones to get thrown up and chip the paint. And so Lotus put some PPF on the cars. Except on one side, they didn't put it on correctly, and so it kind of spilled over. There was a little edge, you know, just a few mil over the top of the lip of this panel. Loads of dirt and stuff was getting in there, so I had to go back to the factory. And then when I went back to the factory, I said, you guys, you need to redo this PPF because it's not been lined up with the panel right. And they said to me, we're worried if we take the PPF off, it's going to bring all the lacquer with it, and we're going to have to repaint basically half your car to get it all to match. Well, not really protecting the paint then, is it? So in the end, we had to kind of finally cut around this bit that they kind of misaligned to get it to kind of work, and it never really looked good. It was one of the things that annoyed me about the car, but that was that. And that area then did get a couple of hits from stones, and the paint was certainly protected, but the PPF was nearly impossible to clean. I never got that PPF looking right. It was a bit damaged from where the stone had hit it, and just the dirt that would get on it seemed to like embed into it. Maybe I was cleaning it wrong. Maybe I was doing stuff wrong. I freely admit that. Maybe that was happening. But that bit of the car always looked awful. It never, ever looked right. And that just constantly wound me up. So I could only imagine what it'd be like if the entire car was covered in this stuff, and every time I got a little mark or something. Now, I had the car for 2.5 years, about 25,000 miles on it, and there were like half a dozen stone chips on it, maybe, that needed sorting. And this is what I really don't get. When I see people online buying cars, all these YouTube types, you know, of which I guess I'm one now, they go and buy this fancy car, and the first thing they do is they send it to a very high-end detailing company to get it detailed and PPF'd. And some of these cars, you know they're not getting driven. These cars are going to get driven like maybe a few thousand miles if they're lucky. So I'm like, what's the point? Like, what was going to happen in that time that the PPF is going to fix? You know, they're thousands of pounds worth of investment. I don't know if these YouTubers get special deals or some of this stuff. I imagine they probably do. I mean, some of them maybe get stuff completely for free. Some of them maybe just get a bit of money off. I genuinely do not know. But it's like, is it really worth it? And it doesn't help either when I know at least one person, and I'm sure there are other examples, of a chap bought a brand new car, was a Lotus actually, had the PPF put on, and in the first week, a stone goes right through the PPF. Put a hole in the PPF, damaged the paint. So now he's stuck, and he's like, well, I've got the PPF to stop stones damaging the paint. Now the PPF is damaged, and the paint is damaged, and if I want to fix the paint, the PPF has to come off. So it's like a double whammy. You've paid to have PPF put on, and you're now going to have to pay to have the paint repaired, and you don't know what damage is going to happen when that PPF comes off. I mean, this just seems a little bit ludicrous, doesn't it? Like, I mean, the companies that sell this stuff are very honest about it, but I think the people that resell it, I see sometimes things ascribed to it that no reputable company ever would. You know, they make it out like it's some sort of magic self-healing. Self-healing is the thing that keeps getting bandied about, right? And here's the rub. There is an element of truth in what they're saying, this whole self-healing thing. You know, it can fix some issues, you know, apply heat guns to this stuff, and it can actually do some kind of amazing things. But it's not pristine, which is kind of how it's made out to be by some places. And so here I am, sat, talking to you guys and asking you what you think of it. I would love to know if you've had it applied and it's done some sort of miraculous thing and it's the best thing ever and you'll always have it again. And equally, I'd like to know if you have had it applied and it hasn't done what you'd like it to, or something's gone wrong. I'm genuinely intrigued here. I want to know what you, the people, I'm not interested in the YouTube crowd. I want to know what your thoughts on the topic are. Is it a vital thing that you would definitely have done to any car that you buy? Or is it basically, 2019's answer to those car care cleaning kits that everyone got sold for 300 quid and you knew that it was just a tenner's worth of crap? I mean, I don't think it's that bad. Genuinely, I'm not. And if you run a PPF company, or PPF is part of what you do, and you think I'm being silly and I'm totally wrong, and you want to bring me down and show me what your product does and why it's worth the money that you charge, I will happily come down and make that video. Nobody's approached me about any of these things. It's not like I'm bitter about it, because as you can see, I'm not that interested in the product. But if you want to come and educate me, I invite you to get in touch. Yeah, for now, I'm going to leave it to the comments section. Ding, ding. See you there.